Some ideas sound like they were invented at the exact moment when your brain had waking up energy, but your heart was still asleep. The kind of idea you share with friends and they laugh in a way that says, "Wait, seriously? You plan to sell that?" Then 3 months later, the same people stare at you on CNBC with the expression of someone who just realized they bet on the wrong horse in spectacular fashion. This list is for moments like that. 30 ideas so ridiculous you cannot help but ask, is this proof that the universe is being run by a cosmic comedy administrator in charge of unexpected plot twists? Despite how absurd they are, all of them share one trait. They made money. A surprising amount of money. Enough to turn a foolish idea into a cultural phenomenon and turn an ordinary person into someone the neighbors whisper about with suspicion, wondering how they became rich so quickly. We begin with the legend that defines all ridiculous legends. 1. Pet Rock. A man looked at a rock and realized that pets usually need food, baths, and vaccines. A rock needs none of those things. A rock exists. He picked up a few stones from a riverbank, placed them inside small boxes, added a care manual that mostly instructed people to do nothing, and sold the boxes as pet kits. The unbelievable part is that the idea succeeded. It did not succeed in a small casual way. It succeeded by selling more than 1 million boxes. The success forced dog owners to look at their pets and wonder if they had chosen a lifestyle that was far too complicated. Pet Rock proved a strange truth about humans. If you present a simple object with enough confidence, people will purchase an actual stone and display it proudly as if it represents some personal enlightenment. And this is only the first story. Everything that follows becomes even more ridiculous. 2. On that day, two software engineers decided to create something they fully believed no one would ever use, a cryptocurrency based on the confident, clueless face of a Shiba Inu. They had no revolutionary vision and no financial roadmap. They only had a meme and the spirit of, let's do this for fun. And that was the exact moment the crypto market stepped into full comedy mode. Dogecoin was born as an inside joke. The kind of joke you send to a friend at 1 in the morning and hope everyone forgets by sunrise. The internet does not forget. The internet sees a joke and reacts in its usual way by expanding it to the scale of a global phenomenon. People began buying Dogecoin not because they understood blockchain, but because they enjoyed owning a currency with a mascot cuter than financial logic. The price rose, then rose again, then reached a market cap of $90 billion, forcing economics professors to pause mid-lecture to check if their screens were malfunctioning. The irony is that Dogecoin was created to mock the crypto market, yet it ended up proving a powerful truth about human investing. People will follow a trend if it is led by a dog with enough charm to override rational thought. 3. The NFT market once operated on a very simple logic. If something was strange enough, people would find a way to assign value to it. The Bored Ape. Yacht Club appeared at exactly that moment with a collection of digital apes wearing expressions that read, "I am exhausted but still charging admission." The creation process was straightforward. Take a digital ape, swap the hat, change the teeth, adjust the background. It was the same workflow as choosing outfits in a video game, except every variation was listed at a price that forced the entire market to rethink the concept of assets. What made the collection explode was not the images, but the membership card behind them. Owning an ape meant stepping into an exclusive club where the core value was the ability to prove you were in an exclusive club. No grand philosophy, just the simple satisfaction of saying, I belong to this group. As the NFT frenzy spread, the collection's value soared past $3 billion, powered entirely by collective curiosity, modest flexing, and the belief that a JPEG could be the seed of an entire lifestyle. Bored Ape proved that in the digital world, the most valuable thing is not the image itself, but the story you get to tell for owning it. 4. Flappy Bird is the perfect example of how a simple game can create global chaos. A Vietnamese coder built a tiny 8-bit app that looked harmless at first glance. You see it and think, easy. Then you tap the screen twice and immediately realize this is not a game. This is a test of character. The mechanics could not be simpler. Tap to make the bird rise, release to let it fall. The problem is that this bird flies with the emotional stability of someone dragged out of bed at 5 in the morning. The harder you try to steady it, the more determined it becomes to slam itself into a green pipe. The frustration spread faster than rumors in a class group chat. Everyone believed they could do better than the last person. Everyone failed just as fast. And everyone came back because pride does not allow being humiliated by a pixelated bird. While the world argued about who was better, Flappy Bird's ad revenue climbed to around $50,000 a day, a number that made major game studios stop and wonder. So the secret to success is making players angry enough that they refuse to quit? Flappy Bird proved that sometimes you do not need a plot or 3D graphics. You only need one impossible bird to take over the internet. 5. Some products are created to be used, and some are created just to see what humans will buy for absolutely no sensible reason. The Supreme Brick belongs to the second category. It is a brick, not a smart brick, not an explosion-proof brick, just a regular brick with the Supreme logo printed on it like a gentle provocation asking, "You dare to buy this?" The market's response was clear. They dared. They dared so much that people lined up like it was Black Friday, except they were buying something you could pick up for free at any half-finished construction site. The retail price was $30, a number that made real construction workers question whether they should switch careers and become fashion designers. But the part that turned the brick into legend was the resale price, around $200 for a mass-produced brick. Buyers were not looking for practicality. They were looking for a story. They wanted to put the brick on a shelf like a spiritual certificate that said, "I belong to the group of people who believe style can defeat gravity." The Supreme Brick proved one unforgettable truth. When a brand is strong enough, it can turn any lifeless object into a fashion accessory, even when that object was originally designed to build walls. 6. The bottled water market used to be as peaceful as a civic education textbook. Soft colors, gentle fonts, innocent droplets of purity. Then Liquid Death showed up and shattered the entire vibe with the energy of a metal guitarist who just overdosed on caffeine. They put regular spring water into an aluminum can, gave it a name that sounds like a mid-level threat, and declared their mission: murder your thirst. A slogan that made every other water brand double-check whether they had missed a memo about global trends. There is no secret ingredient in the can. It is just water, but it is designed to look like something you should drink while wearing leather jackets and tattoos, not inside a conference room. And that confident mismatch is exactly what made people obsessed with it. Liquid Death is not selling water. They are selling the story you tell when you hold the can. A story that says, "I consume healthy things, but I refuse to look harmless." Bold marketing, shock value videos, and the universal desire to look different first and ask questions later pushed the company to a valuation of around $700 million. This can prove that sometimes you do not need a new product. You only need a new attitude. And Liquid Death succeeded in turning spring water, the gentlest substance on Earth, into something that looks like it should not be sold to anyone under 17. 7. Some songs are written to inspire, some are written to tell stories. And then there is Baby Shark, the musical masterpiece that proves 3 repeated words can dominate humanity as long as you sing them on beat. This song has no climax, no drop, no guest rap verse. It only has a family of sharks and a melody so sticky that hearing it once is basically signing a long-term mental lease you can never cancel. Many parents have played it to help their kids sleep, only to realize the person losing sleep is themselves. What is surprising is that Baby Shark is not only haunting, it has earned more than 13 billion views, a number so massive that it makes many professional artists wonder if they have been overthinking music composition. But the true power is not only in the video. It is the Baby Shark shirts, Baby Shark hats, Baby Shark plushies, Baby Shark birthday cakes, and a merchandise ecosystem large enough for you to host an entire shark-themed party without repeating a single item. Baby Shark proved that sometimes the thing that drives you insane is the same thing that makes someone else extremely rich. And if anything on Earth is stronger than sound waves, it is royalty payments generated by children under the age of 6. 8. Snuggie entered the world of home fashion with a very philosophical question. If a warm blanket is good, why does it not have sleeves? It was the kind of idea that makes you think the inventor was half asleep rather than sitting in a boardroom. When Snuggie first appeared on TV, viewers laughed. Not the delighted kind of laugh, but the "there is no way I am buying that" kind. The models in the commercial looked like they were taking part in a mysterious ritual, and the families wearing Snuggies looked like a fan club cheering for their fireplace. But everything changed when people realized the truth. Staying warm without pulling your arms out of the blanket is genuinely a top-tier upgrade. What started as a joke became a sales phenomenon. No luxury, no high-tech, just a simple reason to lie on the couch more comfortably. Sales passed $500 million. a number big enough to make the entire fashion industry question whether consumers really want new outfits or if they only want something that helps them avoid leaving the sofa. Snuggie proved that the line between silly and genius sometimes depends on nothing more than how cold you are when you decide to buy it. 9. Silly Putty began as a laboratory failure when scientists tried to create synthetic rubber, but ended up with a stretchy blob that had the physics of a toy and the seriousness of a long weekend. It was useless for war, useless for manufacturing, but extremely useful for making people laugh. This putty had three strange abilities. It could stretch to absurd lengths, bounce like a cheap rubber ball, and copy newspaper comic strips when pressed onto the page. A skill set that sounds like the resume of a cartoon side character, but turned out to be perfect for becoming a national toy. What made Silly Putty successful was its convincing lack of purpose. It did not teach anything, did not have a learning curve, and barely came with instructions. It simply existed so people could pull it, squeeze it, and mash it, and somehow that was enough to make millions of people happy. Once the market realized that fidgeting is a real human need, Silly Putty sold more than 300 million units, a number so high that the original researchers probably wondered if they had accidentally created something far more successful than their actual assignment. Silly Putty proved that sometimes you do not need a solution, you just need a squishy little toy that makes life feel less stressful for half a second. 10 Post-it notes were born from a failure that no one initially thought was worth keeping. A 3M scientist tried to create an ultra-strong adhesive, something that would stick with the determination of a New Year's resolution. Instead, he accidentally produced a glue so weak that it was not sure if it was even participating in its own job. In theory, that was a failure. But in science, sometimes failure simply means you invented something nobody yet knows they need. Another colleague looked at this barely there adhesive and realized it was perfect for sticking notes onto pages, removing them cleanly and avoiding the guilt of damaging public property. And that is how the tiny yellow square was born. It was not flashy and not high-tech, but it became an office superstar. It marked documents, held reminders, captured quick ideas, and became essential during meetings where everyone pretended to pay attention. From a batch of failed glue, 3M created a product that sits on desks worldwide and generates enough revenue to turn lightly sticky into a billion-dollar industry. Post-it notes proved a simple truth. Sometimes the thing that cannot stick to anything ends up sticking to everyone's life. 11. Poo-Pourri entered the world by targeting a market no one wants to admit they belong to, but everyone definitely uses: the bathroom after peak hours. The idea was simple: a tiny spray you use before your personal meeting begins, so everything stays calm on the battlefield of scent. But what turned this product into a legend was not the essential oils. It was the ads. They hired an actress to talk about bathroom business with the poise of someone presenting afternoon tea at a five-star hotel. The contrast was so intense that viewers were torn between laughing and reconsidering their entire outlook on life. The video went viral. People bought it to try. Then they bought more. Then they bought it as gifts. Because nothing says "I care about you" more clearly than giving someone a bottle designed to protect their dignity in a small, echo-prone space. Revenue passed $500 million, proving that even the least glamorous problems can become gold mines if you dare to name them in the most pleasantly scented way possible. Poo-Pourri showed that sometimes the biggest markets are the ones nobody wants to look at, but everybody needs to handle. 12. Squatty Potty started as a product so brutally practical that no one knew whether to take it seriously. It was just a small stool you place in front of the toilet so your body is at the correct angle. At first glance, it looked like yoga equipment for people who refuse to stretch, or the type of gift you give only when you want to roast someone politely. Everything changed when they released a commercial starring a pristine white unicorn producing rainbow soft-serve ice cream. No one understood why. No one asked for it. But the internet saw it and instantly declared that comedy had found its new champion. The ad explained how Squatty Potty works by describing a unicorn's digestive system like a dessert assembly line. No doctor would dare present medical information that way, and that was exactly why it worked. People laughed, then they bought it. Because deep down, no one refuses a bathroom product endorsed by a unicorn with part-time ice cream shop energy. Sales passed $175 million, turning a tiny plastic stool into a global bathroom phenomenon. Squatty Potty proved something important. When you need to talk about an awkward topic, sometimes all you really need is a unicorn behaving like it is on break from its shift at the local frozen yogurt shop. 13. Every family has at least one weird household item no one admits to buying. In a lot of American homes, that item is Big Mouth Billy Bass. One day, someone looked at an empty wall and thought, you know what this room needs? A fish with musical ambitions. Billy Bass looks like a bargain bin hunting trophy, but he has one superpower. He turns his head and starts singing right when you least expect it. You walk by, the sensor clicks, and suddenly the fish breaks into song with the confidence of a lounge singer who has never received honest feedback. The funny part is that he does not sing well. He does not move well. He does not do anything except startle you and then make you laugh. And that was the exact formula that made him spread everywhere. People bought it as gifts. They bought it to prank friends. They bought it just to watch someone scream and immediately start laughing. Billy Bass quickly became a pop culture phenomenon. He showed up in bars, offices, and anywhere that needed a small, harmless jump scare. No one truly needed him, but everyone wanted to try him at least once. Sales passed $100 million, proving that sometimes all you need to succeed is to turn a boring wall decoration into a plastic fish with more showmanship than the actual homeowner. 14. The iFart app was born from a beautifully simple question. If smartphones are getting too smart, can we drag them down a little for fun? A programmer answered that question by creating an app dedicated to producing sounds everyone recognizes, but no one will ever claim in public. The app did not track health, manage money, or help you improve your life. It had one button and a collection of sounds perfectly designed to destroy the seriousness of any environment. Meeting rooms, classrooms, elevators, or any quiet space that was functioning just fine until you walked in with your phone. People downloaded iFart not out of necessity, but out of that mischievous curiosity every human secretly shares. Everyone wanted to see if their phone could create chaos with enough elegance to be forgiven. And that was all it needed to climb to the top of the App Store and earn millions from an idea originally dismissed as too stupid to exist. iFart did not solve a major problem. It simply made life funnier for 5 seconds. And sometimes 5 seconds is all you need to build a tiny empire. The app proved one thing. Never underestimate the power of dumb joy, especially when it comes with its own button. 15. The fidget spinner arrived looking like a toy you buy for a bored kid. 5 minutes later, you would see coworkers, teachers, Uber drivers, and even the security guards spinning it like NASA had just confirmed it as a new meditation technique. Structurally, a fidget spinner is basically the leftovers of a storage cleanout. 3 plastic wings, 1 bearing, and the belief that spinning something very fast will somehow make life easier. No apps, no batteries, no real purpose. Yet it had an undeniable pull. You try it once and suddenly your hand refuses to do anything else. The funniest part is that it was originally marketed as a focus tool. In reality, it turned classrooms and offices into airports where everyone was quietly spinning a tiny propeller in their palms. Teachers were exhausted. Managers were exhausted. The internet celebrated like it was the invention of the century. At its peak, the fidget spinner built a $1 billion market. Millions of people bought an object they could not decide whether to call a toy, a stress device, or just something to keep their hands busy. The fidget spinner proved one simple truth. If humans have something they can spin, they will spin it. And if they spin it long enough, it becomes a global trend. 16. The Wacky Wall Walker looked like an octopus that slipped off a gummy candy conveyor belt. Tiny, sticky, squishy, and offering absolutely nothing except the promise that you could throw it at a wall and see what happens. And somehow, what happened was enough to charm the entire world. You toss it at the wall and it slowly crawls down with the speed of a caterpillar contemplating the meaning of life. Every tiny step feels like a decision made after a tense internal meeting. It is not fast, not powerful, but it is so weirdly determined that you cannot look away. It does not talk, sing, or boost intelligence. It just crawls. But apparently, crawling in the right way is the ideal feature for kids, adults, and anyone looking to delay responsibilities for the next 3 minutes. Wacky Wall Walker sold more than 80 million units, turning a sticky throwaway toy into a cultural phenomenon. It showed up in cereal boxes, birthday parties, and became clear proof that humans sometimes only want to watch something strange fall in slow motion. This little creation proved that you do not need to be complex to conquer the world. You just need to be sticky enough to cling to a wall and interesting enough to cling to people's curiosity. 17. BarkBox started with one simple but extremely ambitious thought. If humans get monthly gift boxes, why shouldn't dogs get their own? It sounded a little extra, but it targeted the biggest weakness every pet owner has. They all believe their dog deserves the same luxury experience as an actual person. Each month, BarkBox sends a box filled with toys, treats, and random goodies that even the dog does not understand. Dogs do not know shipping schedules. They do not know they are on a subscription plan. They only know that this box equals fun, and honestly, that is all they need. The real psychology is in the owners. They open the box with Christmas morning energy, then watch their dog destroy the toy in 10 minutes. That moment is so priceless that nobody cares that the product's lifespan is shorter than the excitement. Thanks to the formula Make the Dog Happy, and the owner becomes even happier, BarkBox exploded, generating more than $500 million and building a community of people who believe their dog's joy deserves its own budget line. BarkBox proved that the economy does not just serve human needs, it also serves the human need to spoil their dog. 18. Doggles was born from a very human moment. Someone saw their dog squinting in the sun and thought, it needs sunglasses. Most people would dismiss that idea in 2 seconds. A few people did not, and those few became rich. Dog sunglasses sounded like a gag gift created solely to make the internet laugh. And people did laugh. They laughed loudly. They laughed the kind of laugh that says, nobody is ever buying this. But time passed, and suddenly the same people were seeing the neighbor's dog wearing Doggles on a walk, and a new feeling appeared. Okay, that actually looks cool. The funny part is that Oggles were not just a joke. They genuinely blocked sunlight, kept dust out, and protected dogs' eyes. But nobody bought them for practicality. They bought them because their dog now looked like it was about to join an elite aerial stunt team. Doggles exploded in the pet market. People posted photos. Dogs became fashion icons. The company sold millions of pairs, powered entirely by an idea originally treated as a punchline. Doggles proved one thing about consumer culture. Some ideas make people laugh, and ideas make people spend money. Occasionally, they happen to be the same idea. 19. Mountain air was born from a thought only an entrepreneur would dare to take seriously. The air up here smells amazing. I bet people would buy this. A normal person would take a deep breath and move on. An entrepreneur brings a metal can and a business plan. The idea was simple. Capture Rocky Mountain air in a can, slap on a label that says Fresh Mountain Air, and sell it for $30. It became the only product on the market where the ingredient list had exactly one item, and that one item was something humans already breathe for free. The surprise was that people actually bought it. In polluted cities, mountain air turned into a luxury gift. One clean inhale suddenly felt like a premium experience, a miniature version of a weekend getaway in the mountains. Customers opened the can, took a breath, and felt healthier, or at least felt like they had a better story to tell their friends. Meanwhile, the seller watched the numbers climb and realized that sometimes the hardest thing to sell is simply the thing everyone needs every single day. Mountain air proved that confidence at the right moment can turn the most common substance on Earth into a high-end product. And in this case, the most fitting slogan would be, take a deep breath and proceed to checkout. 20. The Nothing Box solves one of humanity's oldest gift-giving problems. What do you buy for someone who says they want nothing? Most people give up. Some try to find something subtle. But a few look directly at the challenge and declare, if they want nothing, then we should give them exactly nothing. The product is exactly what the name promises, a neatly designed box that opens to reveal a perfectly curated space. No decoration, no instructions, no fancy fragrance, just the pure, elegant presence of absence. The best part is that the Nothing Box became the go-to gift for every socially tricky situation. Minimalist friends, picky coworkers, exes who still want to stay in touch, and especially anyone who has ever uttered the most stressful phrase in gift culture. Don't get me anything. People do not buy it for utility. They buy it for the performance. For that moment when the recipient opens the box, stares inside, and realizes the message is absolutely clear. You said you wanted nothing. I respected you enough to purchase nothing professionally. Hundreds of thousands of boxes were sold, proving a delightful truth. If you package it beautifully enough, even nothing can become a profitable product. 21. The USB Pet Rock is proof that the more advanced technology becomes, the more likely humans are to buy something that has nothing to do with technology at all. Someone looked at the legendary Pet Rock and thought, if a rock that does nothing used to sell, then a rock with a USB port that does even less is perfect. And so the USB Pet Rock was born. A completely normal stone connected to a proper USB cable. You plug it into your computer and nothing happens. No lights, no software, no signals. It does not heat up, does not transfer data, and certainly does not make your computer faster. It simply sits there, proudly claiming to be the only rock with modern connectivity. The funny part is that the uselessness is exactly what made it sell out. Buyers did not care how it worked. They only wanted that moment when they plug a rock into their laptop and watch coworkers try to figure out what on earth is going on. It is office entertainment in its purest form. The USB Pet Rock quickly became the ideal gift for IT workers, office pranksters, or anyone who has ever wanted to own an object that makes people ask, why? The answer is simple: because it exists. And sometimes existing in the most pointless way possible is the most effective business strategy of all. 22. Beanie Babies began as the softest, most innocent idea possible. Small plush animals meant to sit on a desk or sleep next to a pillow. No one predicted they would become the center of a nationwide financial fever. Everything changed the moment someone said that a few models were rare. And once the word rare appeared, the market shifted from adorable to full-scale speculation. Adults, the same people who tell children that toys are meant to be played with, suddenly started buying Beanie Babies the way people buy gold. They kept the tags on, sealed them in plastic cases, and stored them like generational assets. Some even believed that a large enough collection could help send their children to Harvard, as if admissions officers would be impressed by a family owning 30 purple stuffed bears. The market exploded. Prices surged. Stores were cleaned out. People fought over plush toys as if someone were handing out free roadmaps to wealth. Beanie Babies became both a cultural phenomenon and a financial mania, a literal toy-driven bubble. Eventually, the bubble burst. But before collapsing, Beanie Babies generated billions in revenue and proved once again that humans can turn absolutely anything into an investment asset as long as it carries two magical words: limited edition. 23. The hula hoop is a living proof that a toy can take over the entire world using nothing more than a plastic circle. No batteries, no buttons, no hidden features. Just an empty tube of plastic that ended up reshaping global entertainment in 1958. It all started when someone noticed that children will spin anything that can spin, and adults love any excuse to prove they are still flexible. Suddenly, this simple ring became an international fitness challenge. Who can keep it spinning the longest? Who can avoid dropping it? And who looks the least ridiculous while swiveling their hips in the backyard? A domino effect followed. Schools held hula hoop contests. Parks filled with people spinning hoops with the seriousness of Olympic athletes. Even the quiet neighbor who only played chess decided to try and quickly discovered that keeping a hoop up is not easy at all, but incredibly addictive once you get it right. Within 4 months, more than 25 million hula hoops were sold, a number so enormous that the plastics industry allegedly had to call emergency meetings because they had never seen a hollow object generate profit so quickly. The hula hoop proved that sometimes a product succeeds not because it is complex, but because it gives people the perfect reason to look silly and still feel proud about it. 24. Furby is the only toy in history that made children want to take care of it while also wanting to lock it in a cabinet at night. It looked like a cross between an owl, a hamster, and a creature you absolutely do not want to meet at 3 in the morning. Yet that perfect level of pleasantly creepy is exactly what turned Furby into a global phenomenon. When it launched, Furby could learn language, blink, wiggle, and produce noises that sounded suspiciously like the dialect of a secret cult. Many children were convinced it was alive. Many parents were convinced it was listening in on them. The internet was convinced that if you turned off the lights, Furby would slowly open its eyes like a character in a low-budget horror film. The strangest part was that the scarier it seemed, the better it sold. Children begged for one, adults bought them as gifts, and everyone pretended not to be alarmed when a Furby activated itself in the middle of the night because its sensor picked up something. The result was more than 40 million units sold, a number proving that the line between toy and nightmare is practically optional as long as the product is fascinating enough. Furby showed that success does not always come from being adorable. Sometimes it comes from making an entire household slightly uneasy while still willing to swipe their credit card. 25. Pink sauce is living proof that the internet can turn absolutely anything into a national phenomenon, including a bottle of pink condiment whose identity was unclear to every living expert. One day, a TikTok chef poured a cosmetic-looking pink liquid onto food, and millions of viewers instantly asked the same question: what is that? The only problem was that no one had an answer. The color was gorgeous. The ingredients were vague. The label had typos. The appearance shifted from video to video as if the recipe depended on the creator's mood that afternoon. Instead of scaring people off, this chaos triggered a FOMO so strong that everyone wanted to try it, even if they were not sure whether they were tasting sauce or participating in a social experiment. Then the drama hit. Debates exploded. Misunderstandings multiplied. Reviews went wild. The irony was that the more people questioned pink sauce, the more famous it became. The more famous it became, the more people ordered it. And once people ordered it in droves, Walmart looked at the numbers and said, fine, put it on the shelves. The result was a bizarre TikTok sauce strolling into the biggest retailer in the United States as if it had a fully planned corporate roadmap. Pink sauce proved a new rule of the digital era. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to create enough drama for the internet to handle your marketing for free. 26. Shake Weight is the only fitness product in history that made the entire world ask, wait, is this actually for working out? Its shape was questionable enough to make any gym instantly lose the ability to maintain a straight face. But that turned out to be the secret to its success. The idea was simple: a small dumbbell that shakes on its own. Users only had to hold it and let it do the rest, creating a workout that looked like strength training but felt like a challenge you would never want recorded on a security camera. When the ads dropped, people laughed. No one believed anyone would buy it. But in marketing, rule number one is clear: if something makes people laugh, there is a high chance they will buy it just to see what happens. And that is exactly how Shake Weight became a nationwide meme and a sales explosion. Within 6 months, it generated over $50 million, leaving traditional fitness equipment companies confused and slightly offended. We researched advanced technology for years and lost to a vibrating dumbbell? Shake Weight proved a simple truth in the fitness world. You do not need a smart device. You just need something guaranteed to make people laugh first and order second. 27. Edible cookie dough was born from a truth everyone knows but pretends not to. The best part of a cookie is not the cookie. It is the raw dough. Everyone has secretly licked the spoon at least once and been scolded with the legendary line, "You will get a stomachache." One day, someone decided to solve this problem in the most American way possible. Do not ban it, legalize it. They removed the raw eggs, added more sugar, added a touch of perfectly safe marketing, and opened a store that sold raw cookie dough. A product that makes nutritionists cry, but makes TikTok smile. The public reaction was instant. A line wrapped around the entire block, as if a new iPhone had dropped, except everyone was waiting to buy something they could make at home if they were willing to wash the bowl. People lined up, tasted it, took photos, and admitted to themselves, yes, raw dough really is better. Suddenly, edible cookie dough became a national food trend. More locations opened, more toppings appeared, and magazines covered it like it was a breakthrough in culinary science. Edible cookie dough proved that you do not need to invent a new dish. You only need to sell the thing people secretly loved all along, but always felt guilty eating in the shadows. 28. The cat unicorn horn was born from a need no one actually had, but somehow made the entire United States laugh. The desire to turn a cat, a creature known for its absolute refusal to cooperate, into a unicorn. Anyone who owns a cat knows the truth. Cats do not wear anything. Christmas hats are ripped off, sweaters are shredded, bows disappear in 4 seconds. Yet one day, someone decided to challenge basic logic and asked, if cats hate all accessories, why not sell the most ridiculous accessory possible? The result was a white plastic horn with an elastic strap, looking like a prop from a children's show but advertised with complete seriousness. Transform your cat into a legendary unicorn. The cat's reaction was universal, a stare that said, this is a crime. The human reaction was the opposite: laughter, photos, social media posts, and buying a second one just for fun. Then the internet found out. Memes exploded. Pictures of furious cats wearing unicorn horns became national comedy fuel. Suddenly, the cat unicorn horn turned from a joke into a bestseller. The cat unicorn horn proved one simple truth: you do not need to make the cat happy. You only need to make the humans happy, and that alone is enough to get rich. 29. Glow in the dark. Toilet paper exists because of a question no one ever asked, but everyone laughs at once they hear it. Can toilet paper glow? And in true American fashion, if something is unnecessary, it is probably worth manufacturing. The idea started as a Halloween party joke. A faintly glowing roll meant to confuse guests into wondering whether they were in a bathroom or a low-budget amusement ride. But something unexpected happened. Humans turned out to be extremely curious about things they have no business being curious about. When an online store listed the product with a half serious, half sarcastic pitch, never fumble in the dark again, sales jumped like someone flipped a light switch. People did not buy it because they needed it. They bought it because they wanted to know if it actually glowed. And yes, it does, but in a soft, confusing way that makes you wonder whether your eyes are playing tricks on you. Then social media took over. Review videos, reactions, clips of people unrolling it in dark rooms. All of it turned glow in the dark toilet paper into a full blown phenomenon, completely useless, yet completely irresistible. Glow in the dark toilet paper proves a simple truth. In a world full of choices, the winner is not what you need. The winner is whatever makes you stop and say, hold on, what is that? 30. Name consultants are the people who sell a few letters for the price of a luxury car. It sounds absurd, but in a world where wealthy parents want their child to stand out from the moment the birth certificate is signed, it has become a goldmine. The industry began when a linguistics expert noticed a strange pattern. The richer the parents, the harder it was for them to pick a name. Olivia? Beautiful but too common. Leo? Nice but too popular. These families wanted names that were unique, elegant, and impossible for anyone else in the playground to have. So they hired specialists for $30,000 to craft a name that could shape the future. The process is so meticulous it borders on comedy. They analyze the parents' surnames, cultural roots, how the name sounds when shouted across a park, its 20-year durability, and whether it can become a personal brand. After weeks of research, the client receives a list of 3 or 4 names. Sometimes they differ by one syllable, sometimes by one missing letter. But to the parents, it feels like premium value. At first, the public laughed, but the service spread to celebrities, tech CEOs, and the upper class. Everyone wanted a proprietary name. Name consultants prove one thing. Even a name, something humans have created for free since the beginning of civilization, can turn into a luxury product if you package it as something special.